What's going on, beautiful people? So we're back with another one. Today we got on a credit repair specialist. I know credit is something that's very important in today's world. So I know a lot of people will probably find this podcast useful. So let me go ahead and bring on Mr. Alvaro Bustos. Mr. Alvaro, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you all right, buddy.
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing great, Jordy. Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's a pleasure to have you on here. I wanted to bring you on because, like I just said, it's credit's very important. I honestly didn't even learn about credit till probably about a year ago, and it completely blew my mind when I saw the power of leverage and OPM and things like that. So, I know you repair people's credit, but the first question I like to ask people is, well, why? Why did you get into credit repair?
Well, I got into credit repair because I came from the real estate business, and the real estate world hinges on credit. And oddly enough, everything else revolves about around credit. I like to refer to it as the report card that we all get as adults. When we were back in high school, your report card was how you got measured, and in life, you get measured by the ability to repay or your credit.
Hmm. Nice, nice. And how long have you been in the credit repair
Mhm.
business?
I've been in the credit repair for 3 years now,
Nice,
as a corporation, as an established business.
nice. So, who do you primarily target when when trying to fix somebody's credit?
Okay, we target individuals who have had hiccups and situations in their life, whether it's a credit card debt or some other kind of situation that happened in life, illness perhaps, or something like that. It affected their ability to pay, and then we help them remove or build new credit when that situation is needed.
Okay. And how difficult do you see it is to kind of remove things sometimes?
So it could be a challenge. It depends on every situation. Oftentimes, you have people who had small situations, small blemishes, and then people who have had more serious, more long term issues that require a more surgical reaction and action to help them remove some of the negative stuff and also work at the same time on building new credit.
Now, what would be some examples of like some small things?
Small things is like you were late on a credit card payment a couple of months, you were late on a car payment a couple of months, you were late on your mortgage. Those things are considered small and relatively easy to fix. The more in depth is if you had like a car repossessed, or you've had a foreclosure on your credit, or you have some serious debt that has been sold to a third party.
Gotcha, gotcha. And do you have like a time frame that sometimes people can expect when removing like these big things or these small things, or is it kind of like
Well,
an
it
individual
depends.
basis?
Well, it depends on the person that you owe money to. In some cases, we can fix some things as quickly as 30, 60, or 90 days. And sometimes, when the situation is not as easy, you're looking at 6 months and perhaps even longer than that.
Oh wow. And what would pretty much be the process of
Well,
getting something off the
yeah,
credit?
well, there's three steps or three prongs to that. The first one is to establish the correct identity. Oftentimes, you have people who have multiple identities from a credit standpoint, not that they have multiple identities, but their name is spelled differently on a credit card, or their name is spelled differently on an invoice or a bill, and that it gets targeted or gets flagged for somebody else's loan or debt, and it affects you in a negative way. That's so the first thing is establish identity, the correct identity, or you might be getting issues with somebody else's credit. Somebody else owes the money, and now you're getting hit, or your credit score is getting hit because of that. The second thing is try to remove some of the negative stuff on your credit score, like I said, some late payments and things like that. Some other debt, some collections, we can fix those. And then the third step in the process is to help people build new credit. And we do that very strategic with some specific credit cards that if you use properly, will help you increase your credit at a much faster rate than you would by not doing anything.
Yeah, yeah. Now you have talked to me about like certain things to do when trying to fix my credit or even improve my credit. Could you
Mhm.
elaborate on some of those things? Like you
Yeah,
told me
yeah.
to to add my rent payment. That was a pretty
Exactly.
cool one.
Exactly. When you have a mortgage, every month that you pay on time, you get credited. You have the benefit of that positive trade line on your credit score. Well, I have a system that will help you do that if you're renting. Your
Hmm.
landlord has to sign off that you make your regular payments on time, and you will be credited by that. And that will help your credit score, help you build new and better credit than you had in the past. So that is a great tool that we have that will help you improve your credit score.
Nice,
Credit my rent. It's the name.
nice. And what else? What else would be some hacks?
Yeah, well, some of the things that we can do is some very specific credit cards that will help you, and then it's the on-time payments that helps you repetitively, 2, 3, 5, 6 months in a row. Paying on time will help you build credit on those specific credit cards. There is a credit card, it's called a secure credit card, where you deposit an amount of money and then you draw from that every month and you use it. Now, the strategy behind it is that you use it effectively. For example, we call that your gas credit card. So you only use it when you fill up your tank. So every few days, once a week, you go fill up your gas tank and then you pay it off at the end of the month. You don't let that carry over, and that will help you credit tremendously. And then will help you, improve your situation so you can get what you want, get that score that will help you either, buy a house or buy a car or get into an apartment or whatever the situation is.
So say that one more time. Sorry, it seems like your Wi-Fi was going out a little bit. So you use the card just for gas. You
Correct.
and you do what?
And you pay it off at the end of the month. You don't
Oh,
carry a balance. You don't carry a balance. That's very important.
nice.
And
Now, why have I heard that if I carry a balance and I just pay the minimum, that it helps my credit a lot? Is that like a myth?
yeah, that's a myth. Absolutely a myth. Because what happens is you're being charged a fee for processing and also an interest on that. So if you just pay the minimum, you'll have this car for the next 7 to 10 years. You'll still be paying the same $50 that you could have paid off, months or years ago. So
Wow,
yes, you should never carry more than 30% of your balance on your credit cards, and that is a key number. You should never carry more than 30% of your balance.
for sure, for sure. I had experience sent me to like this email the other day saying, "Hey, you're only using like 2% of your credit," which is amazing, right?
It is amazing, and
No, but I use a lot of money
unfortunately,
though. I've started to increase my limits, so it's like I'm not even reaching that 10%.
right, and it's called a utilization number, and it should never exceed 30%, because if it does, then from a credit standpoint, you're higher risk. Therefore, they would affect your credit score.
Wow. Now, as far as inquiries go, do you have
Mhm.
like a certain number of inquiries, maybe every 6 months at the most that you should do, or how
Okay.
often should I do inquiries? Because
Uh, in-
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a credit junkie, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's the reality of it. I love credit. Ever since I found out, I'm like,
I want to use
who's next?
it. Who's next? Right. Who else is going to give me another credit card? Yes. And most of us are junkies in that sense. You're absolutely right. When it comes to inquiries, you don't want more than 4 to 6 inquiries on a 12-month period. And just so you know, they fall off after, or I get them removed every 48 months. Every 2 years, I get a removal of your credit score, because if you have too many inquiries, it's seen from a credit standpoint that you're out there trying to get and hustle more and more and more credit, which is not always seen as a good thing, because you may get into a situation where you buy more than you can chew and you get more credit than you can handle. That's where people get in trouble sometimes.
Now you said you can get it removed because you said two different numbers. Every 2 years or every 48 months?
No, for 2 years. Every two
2 years?
years, we should get them
Oh
removed.
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
got like 100.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk
No.
after this. We'll get us squared away. We'll get you squared away.
All right. So you were giving us a couple hacks. You said the
Mhm.
rent hack. Start
Yes.
claiming your rent, guys. Very very important.
Yes.
At the very minimum, if you're already throwing that money away and away, at least claim that for credit.
Get some
Um,
benefit out of it. Get some
get
minor
some
benefit out
benefit.
of it.
Exactly. Second,
Absolutely.
You said the
Use a one specific credit card only
secured.
for, yeah, exactly. And I use gas an example. You could use it for like your Hulu account, for Netflix. You can use it for pretty much anything. Only use that one card for that one specific item that you pay off at the end of the month. Remember the key: pay it off at the end of the month. Don't carry a balance on that specific credit card.
Pay it off.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And then
Mhm.
any other hacks maybe the audience would benefit from?
Well, the other hack is to help people understand that you don't, that 30% is a key number that most people are not aware of. Uh, that 30% you should never carry 30% of the balance on all your credits combined,
Okay.
and that will help you make your score and improve your score on a regular basis. So before you know it, you're at 600 or 700, and that's excellent credit score. That
Okay.
is your
So never carry more than 30%. All right,
correct.
got it. Got it. And I was gonna say, sorry, your Wi-Fi keeps breaking out. It's cutting out. It's
Hmm,
kind of
that's
throwing me
odd.
off. All
I'm
right. So
sorry.
no more than no worries. No more than 30%.
Hmm.
Um, the rent, the secured card. Now,
Correct.
the secured card would be more for somebody with bad credit, right?
Correct. Or bad, or if you just want to improve what you already have,
So, I mean, I
you,
have
that,
decent credit. I should still get a secured.
you still should get a secure card that will help you, and then use it strategically only for that.
Gotcha,
That's the
gotcha.
key.
And
Yeah,
and the approval process is probably going to be a lot easier
it's a
than
lot easier.
than
It's
any
all
other
it's
one.
guaranteed. It's guaranteed, exactly. So
So
you
it
don't
is
have to worry
guaranteed
about it.
when I apply.
Yes.
Got it,
Yes.
got it. Now
Yes.
you also said, just to kind of rephrase in case the Wi-Fi cut off, no more than 4 to 6 every 12 months for inquiries.
Correct. 4 to 6.
Okay, gotcha.
4 to 6.
Now is it also a myth that if I do all my applications at once, they're not going to see everything, or they're going to see every single application?
They see everything. There is a little bit of an exception. If you're purchasing a house, if you're, for example, looking for a mortgage, they give you up to 30 days for you to shop around and go look for different mortgages, different banks, or different lenders, so you can
Gotcha.
get that counts as one. And also for vehicles, if you're buying a vehicle, you get 2 weeks, you get 15 days
Oh
of quote
wow.
unquote grace period. So you can go like Honda, Toyota, BMW, Mercedes, or different car dealers to shop for a car. They
Wow.
will pull, different, but if it's within the 15 days. If you exceed the 15 days, then every other one will count as an individual pull on your credit, and it would hurt. And it usually hurts anywhere between 2 to 4 points, depending on your credit score. So every time
Wow.
you apply for something, every time you check something, it's 2 to 4 points.
I did not know that. That is very good to know for the car next time.
Yep, yep. You got 15 days. You got 2 weeks to go shop around and look for the car.
Gotcha. And where's your business located? Are you like just Florida, or where
I,
can you help
I
people?
can help people anywhere in the continental U.S. And we're located here in Miami, but we definitely work with people all over. I have a lot of clients in Texas, a lot of clients in California and Arizona, and a lot of New York,
Nice, nice.
in addition to
Now,
Florida, of course.
nice. So you can definitely improve somebody's credit, like if they're looking to buy a home, um, buy a car, and when it comes to starting a business, I'm sure you know a little bit about business credit and
Hmm.
things like that.
Yes.
Um, what are some key things when you're starting to wanting to get that business credit?
Right. If you want to get started, understand that it starts with your own personal credit. Your personal credit becomes the guarantor for the business. So understand that your personal credit will affect your business. And then I can help you. If you call me, we'll help you build your business credit, because that becomes a separate entity. Your company, your corporation, your identity will have its own credit. But initially, whatever transactions you do will go under, you'll fall under your personal as you establish credit, because you for the corporation, the day zero, you start with zero.
Wow. Okay, so I gotta have good personal credit before I start a business line.
Correct. Correct. Any
Gotcha,
banking
gotcha.
institution will provide you with a loan to in order for you to start your business. and that comes off of your personal.
Gotcha. Now, do you have any specific credit cards that maybe you'd recommend to the audience when starting out? I know you said like secured, but
All right.
maybe unsecured.
Give me a call and I'll be happy to tell you depending on the situation, because there are some credit cards that are geared more for somebody who is going from a 300 or a 400 or 400 or 500 or a 600 to 700. It depends on the situation.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
So
yeah,
you would definitely help somebody, guide
absolutely,
somebody in that direction.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. I
Mhm.
I feel like Bank of America is like my hardest card to get, man.
Uh, I can tell you that the bigger institutions are a little bit more difficult to deal with when it comes to those things. Their threshold is a little bit higher. They take less of a risk than the small, credit union, for example. Credit unions are a lot more lenient, a lot more flexible, and they help the person who's starting out with credit or who's had a couple of difficulties. The
Yeah.
bigger banks, the bigger institutions, um, they take less risk.
Yeah. I just for coming December, I'm going for Bank of America again.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tried back in June, July, and they're like, no, sorry. And
They're
I'm like,
like, no,
okay, I'm
not right
coming
now.
back for you. I'm coming back for you, December.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah,
once
cause
you hit a certain number with them, they open all the doors for you. Once you hit that seven something magic number, close to 800, then they're a lot more flexible. But at the beginning, as you establish relationship, as you establish a better credit relationship, no, just because you have a banking account with them doesn't mean that you have a credit relationship with them. Understand that there are two different lines.
yeah. I actually thought that too. That if I opened
Mhm.
an account,
Yeah,
then I'd
most people
automatically.
assume that. Yeah, most of us
Yeah.
assume. I assumed that at the very beginning. I assumed because I had a banking account, a checking account with them for many, many years, that I automatically assumed that they were going to be more flexible with me, with credit, with loans, with credit cards, and that was not the case, as you have discovered.
Yeah. Credit unions are pretty cool too. I just like got started with credit unions and things like that, and
Hmm.
I got into Navy Federal because my sister's actually a
Oh,
veteran. So
excellent. Thank you
that
for the
was
service. Thank you for the service. And
yeah,
yes, Navy Credit is one of the best credit cards that I would recommend for
yeah. It's
building and
actually
improving your credit. Yeah.
my lowest APR, to be honest.
Yeah, they're the lowest APR, and they give you the highest balance ability to carry balance. They are a lot more flexible.
Yeah, I actually went to Best Buy to buy some headphones the other day too, and I don't think I told you this story. And the guy was like, "Hey, do you want to get like 10% off?" I'm like, "All right, fine, I'll get 10% off." He didn't tell me it was 10% off for my next purchase, right? It wasn't for this
Okay,
purchase.
wasn't for this
So
purchase.
also, this guy tells me, "Oh, it's not gonna hurt your credit score. It's not even gonna affect it, right? Or
Yes, yes, it does.
it's not gonna be a pool." I'm like, "Oh, okay, silly me." This guy
Hmm.
pulls it. As soon as he pulls it, I give him my social. I get an email. You got an inquiry. I'm like,
You
this
got an
freaking
inquiry.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Their job is to sell you the product and to use their credit line, which is usually a little bit higher than the average. Or they give you the
oh yeah,
introductory offer of 2 3 months, and before you know it, it doubled or tripled. And it could go easily under the 25 30% before you even know it.
oh yeah. I mean, I told him, I'm like, listen, I already got like 20 inquiries. This was like back in June, July when I applied for everybody,
Okay.
and I was like, hey, this is not gonna go. Like, I'm not gonna get approved. He's like, well, let's just try. Let's just try. I get $5,000 off rip. I'm like, what?
Yep, yep, yep. And it ding your credit too.
Yep. And then he was like,
Yep.
"Oh, now you can go buy a TV or whatever and finance it." I'm like, "That's not what I'm gonna do with this. I'm buying leads
Mhm.
with this.
Yeah.
I'm using it for my
Yeah.
business." So,
Yeah. Yeah. In
you know,
addition to that, it's a higher percentage, it's a higher APR.
yeah. I mean, I got like 12 months zero APR, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be high once it goes
Yeah.
into
Once you pass that initial period.
for sure. Now, what's been one challenge that you have seen with certain clients or in your line of business?
What I've seen is that oftentimes people start out really well. They see an improvement, and then we go from 400 to 500, 500 to 600, and then they kind of slow down and they get very comfortable. They're like, oh, I already got pretty decent credit. I already have 2 or 3 more credit cards, and they kind of ease off, and they never hit that ideal number that they want to get. So,
Yeah.
to everybody out there, it's like keep working at it. It's a process. It takes time. And then I love to see people succeed. I love to see people hit the 700s and even the 800 numbers. Don't get stuck in the 5 and 600. Just because you improve doesn't mean that you stop. You continue to make your payments on time. You continue to show the credit bureaus that you are capable of handling more and more credit, and then you're going to use it effectively and efficiently, and it will benefit you because every purchase that you make in the future will be at a better APR, and you'll have
Yeah.
more access to more money and to more credit.
Yeah. Now, do you think it's easy to get, or easier, I want to say, to get from the 4s to the 6s than it is from the 7 to the 8?
Yes.
It is, right?
On average, yeah, it's easier to go, those 50, 100 points is a lot easier. Once you get to the 600s, 700, we
Slows
have to
down.
get, yeah, it slows down. We have to get a little bit more creative, and have to use different techniques. Every situation is different, and everyone's credit is different. And one other thing that I wanted to add to that, the older your credit is, the better it is. So if you have some
Yeah.
old credit cards, do not close them. Keep them open. Keep them active. Make one purchase every quarter and just pay it off. Make one purchase every quarter. Even if it's just going out to dinner, just put it on that one credit card. But if you have more mature, more older credit, that's one of the techniques that we use to help you seriously improve that credit. So that will give you a 20, 30, 50-point jump.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I always tell people, I mean, credit is so important. I mean, just imagine
We
like
live-
having a friend at Chase,
Yeah,
technically, and be like,
yeah.
hey, like, I got this
Mhm.
idea. I want to start a business. Oh, yeah, sure. Here's a $5,000 credit card, a $10,000 credit card. I mean,
Yeah, that
that'll
will open
open
all the doors for you. That
all the
yes,
doors,
that
like,
could change somebody's life.
for sure. Like, I have this story where, back when my kid's mom died, I literally had $20,000 in credit cards, not balances or debt, sitting in my drawer because I was living on this Dave Ramsey lifestyle, right? To where pay
Hmm.
everything by cash, forget debt, debt, debt. And then
Hmm.
it finally clicked. And that's when I started learning about credit. I'm like, I have $20,000 in my drawer. Why am I stressing about money right now? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah,
And
it
I
comes in
use that.
handy.
Yeah, I use that to start my insurance business. And
Hmm.
like I
Yeah,
to be honest, I never even paid a dollar of interest.
exactly. It opened the door for you. It allowed you. It gave you that freedom, that access to the money that you needed at the time that you needed it. Absolutely.
For sure. Now, why is it you think that people are hesitant to get like credit repair?
You know what? Unfortunately, not everybody's had good results. So there's this negativity around, and then oftentimes people say, well, I can do it myself. And I often tell people, look, if I give you a person, will you cut your own hair? And the answer is usually no. Same thing with credit repair. You have to have a specialist who knows what they're doing and how you can be very strategic about certain techniques that will help you get the higher benefit, get quickly to that number that you want to get at. Absolutely.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I heard that even if like a creditor calls you and you confirm that you do have that debt,
Never
it
do
kind
that.
of like
Never do that.
starts like re over your 7 years or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right. So if a creditor calls you and you verified the debt, you have now restarted the timer, and now you're going to go another 7 years and not be able to dispute or get that thing removed on a easier, quickly basis.
So how long does it take? 7 years for everything to get removed?
Yes, yes. It's supposed to be removed after 7 years. Now, however, there's a law that says that the creditors have the right, if you reinitiate it, add another 7 years to that. So just be careful when you answer the phone, or call me and I will tell you what to say, what not to say when it
What
comes to those situations.
what would be some things to say when somebody calls?
First thing is, you don't want to verify a personal information. You never want to give information over the phone. You never give out your social security number. You never give out an account number or a amount of money that you had owed to somebody at some point. So you never verify. And if you ask those questions, tell them, hey, look, don't call me. Um, I'm going to have Mr. Bustos call you and fix this for me.
Oh, so you will call the creditors.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That is part of our services. We help you negotiate and get those things removed in most cases. And please, whatever you do, do not pay those people, because even though you pay, it stays on your credit report. There is a way of this technique that I use to pay it, but it get removed from your credit score.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like I tried to Google one time, like, hey, like credit repair, right? Like, let me fix my credit. I'm
Who
telling
has?
you,
Who
it
hasn't?
was it
Jordy,
was
who
the
has?
worst. It was the worst experience ever. I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah,
I gotta like send these letters and this and that, and I'm like, that's
yeah,
why we got
exactly.
in touch.
Yeah,
And I'm
and wait
like,
for the
man,
letters to come back and send them again. And you know what? That's what we do. We do that to help you avoid all that hassle.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Now,
Yeah.
what would be like a myth? I mean, I know we just talked about a myth earlier, but what would be one myth about your job that people have, right? Outside of all credit repair, doesn't work.
Mhm. Well, the biggest myth in my business is that things cannot be resolved.
That's true.
Oftentimes, people are afraid of dealing with it because they think it can't be resolved. And I can tell you, we can pretty much resolve just about anything.
And how do you feel about hospital bills? Like sometimes I hear hospital bills aren't important. Sometimes they are. Like you never know.
Yeah, you're right. And funny enough, when I deal with those, oftentimes people tell me, I didn't even know it was my bill, because they kept sending so many letters from different doctors that I didn't know. And I thought my insurance was going to take care of it. And then I forwarded to my insurance. My insurance paid some of it. And then I got another letter, and then I got 3, 4 letters, and I lost track of it. It went into oblivion. It went into the big black hole of nobody knows, but it stayed on my credit report. That's what I hear often from people. And I
Is
can
that
tell
really?
you, yes, we can fix those very quickly and very effectively if we understand what is it exactly that is owed, what is it that is not owed, and what portion belongs to the insurance company. And we can definitely go after the doctors and the X-ray companies and the insurance companies who have not failed to pay or have failed to report on your behalf, because that's one of the biggest challenges with medical bills is accurate reporting.
No, I
It's not
feel like
exactly that you owe them the money, it's the accurate or inaccurate reporting.
yeah. No, I agree. I feel like that happens a lot.
Mm.
It should
Yeah.
because it's like I
Hmm.
I'm in that situation, right? Where it's like I
Hmm.
feel like I paid that. I know I paid that at the doctor's office,
Hmm.
but now it's saying that it's on my credit report saying I didn't pay it. You
Exactly.
know?
And that goes into inaccuracies. It's incorrect information that's being reported on you, and it is affecting you negatively.
Yeah, yeah. And it's definitely something that somebody should pay attention to because I bet people just say, well, it's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can pretty much guarantee that it's going to keep those points down from going into the 700s, right?
Correct. Correct. Yes. And
Okay.
and then the other myth, you haven't even asked me, but I got to tell you, the other myth is gym memberships. They show up on everyone. We all went
Really?
to, it's all kinds of Planet Fitness, this and that and the other, and people start. They sign up in January. They sign the little contract. They don't read the fine print. Come off, you don't go, and before you know it, it's May, June, July, and September, and you're still paying for it, and then you stop paying, and then guess what? It shows on your credit report. We see that
Wow.
a lot.
And
We see that a lot.
how quick is it usually to get that off? I wouldn't think
You know
that's
what?
a lot of
Usually
time.
60 to 90 days is off. It's never happened. Again,
That
inaccuracies because don't read that little uh, that contract that we signed with the membership.
yeah, yeah. You guys
And
need to
they're
just stay
very
at the
good at
gyms,
reporting.
guys.
Yeah, yeah,
You
they're
guys.
very good at reporting. They report you every time.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's funny. Now, what's what's something that maybe if somebody can't afford your services, right? That
Hmm.
somebody can do to kind of improve. their credit? I know you said a couple hacks, but
Okay.
maybe to kind of, if they
Right.
just couldn't afford your services, right? What's something
Right.
that
Well,
they can do themselves?
yeah. I gave you a couple of pointers. The first one is
Yeah.
make sure that you do not go above that 30% on a monthly basis of your credit card expenses. Um, Pay on time. 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 Even if you cannot afford to pay it off, even if you just make payments, make sure that they're sent on time. The credit my rent is very inexpensive. You can, for a couple of bucks a month, you can get that going, and it will make a big difference. Even if you pay a roommate, well, I have a way to get that reported into your credit bureau.
Wow.
So even if you sublease from somebody, absolutely.
Wow. So you guys hear that? Even if you're renting a room, you could
Hmm.
definitely get
Yeah,
that
get that going and then help your credit score. Yes.
get that reported. Nice, nice. Now, what has been one of the biggest lessons you've learned in the credit repair business?
We're all human. We all have had hiccups and situations, and everyone, just about everyone that I speak to, has had something that they didn't even know it was in their credit score. Some kind of negative derogatory situation that they didn't even know it was in there. So we're all human, and you know what? You do not own that information. Somebody else owns it. Somebody else reported it, and but I'm responsible for it, so I got to check it on a regular basis.
Yeah, yeah.
At least once a year, pull that free credit report and then look at what's in there for you, what's affecting you. Because
What's
again,
no, go ahead.
go ahead, it's freecreditreport.com.
Yeah.
And basically, you get your credit report for free, and then you look at it and you see it. And if you have any questions, call me. I'll give you some pointers for free. Not a problem.
Now, is that accurate? Because like I remember when I was shopping for a home, and like I got one score here, I got one score there, and it was like a
Yeah.
50-point difference.
Yeah, there's usually multiple differences because it depends what kind of report. There's actually a total of 11 different reports that can be pulled on you.
Oh wow.
One could be employment, one could be insurance, one could be housing. There's different ones. It depends on what you're
Wow.
looking for. And I'm not gonna bore you in going into details about each one of them, but just to give you an idea, there's up to 11 different credit reports that can be pulled,
I
and
did
they
not
all
know that.
measure different things. They all measure your ability to repay, your ability to carry balances, your ability to manage the credit that's been extended to you by a company.
Wow. I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Mhm.
And
FICO is the most known, is the one that is used for homes, just so you know.
okay. Now you gave us the freecreditreport.com. Is there other websites that maybe people can use to check?
That's the
That's it.
primary. That's
That's the
it.
primary.
Hmm.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
is totally free. So you don't, even though they suggest that you buy their services, it is free. It is totally free.
Okay. Now, what about these services that sometimes charge you online to check? What's the difference with those?
There's additional services that will give you additional stuff comes with it. Some of it comes with, like, for example, a protection, identity protection, because as we know, there is people identity are being stolen every day. So there is that service additional to the credit. There's also credit monitoring, credit boosting. There's an array of benefits. I don't, again, want to bore you with all those details,
Do you
but
recommend them?
yeah, but say again.
Do you recommend them?
It depends on what you're looking for. The identity protection, it is critical in today's world. For a couple of dollars a month, you will be protected, and it could cost you. It could wreck your life if your identity were stolen tomorrow. It could really wreck your life. I mean, you imagine if tomorrow you woke up and you had no credit cards, no credit whatsoever. You couldn't even buy gas for your car. You couldn't get to work, or you couldn't, buy a meal somewhere. Identity uh, theft is one of the biggest issues right now. That it's a lot of government entities looking into how do we stop it, how do we control it, how do we curb it, how do we protect people from identity theft. It's huge.
And I don't think you could pretty much stop that though.
And how do we control it? How do we manage it? And it is very difficult. It is very difficult, and again, it wrecks people's lives.
Yeah, I've thought about that before. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody
And
like
there's a
steals
couple
my
of
money.
services that will do that for a few dollars a month, and then they will definitely protect you. And that's something you want to do. And if you call me, I would explain to you in details why is it important, what it covers, and what are some of the benefits.
Nice, nice. Cool, man. Cool. Now, if let's talk about maybe that mother with a couple kids that maybe is looking to buy that home and maybe looking to get into a new car and things like that. What would pretty much be the first step for them to maybe get on their way to a higher credit score?
Well, the first step is to pull that free credit report and understand where they're at.
Yeah.
It could be the difference from a credit standpoint. It could be a couple $100 a month. If you went and bought a $20,000-$30,000 car at 4 or 5%, you probably end up paying somewhere around $200-$300 a month. If you had bad credit, that same car will cost you about $600-$700 a month. So it could be a
Wow.
significant difference. And I'm using the car example. The same thing applies to pretty much everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. Now, do you recommend somebody go get a car to? Because I've heard, oh well, I'm gonna pay a lot of money for this car
Mhm.
because it's gonna help my credit.
uh, okay, what's first, the chicken or the egg? uh,
And
that's
I'm
not
like,
always the
I don't think you should do that.
that's
But
that's not always the best advice. uh, let's evaluate the situation. There's that OPM method that is always known. Uh, that will definitely would help you make better use of your credit. Using other people's money and then paying it down on a regular basis will be a lot easier and a lot better, a lot more cost effectively, if you would.
yeah, yeah. Now, how do you feel about buying a new car versus a used car in cash instead of going into?
I'm not in car sales, but I can tell you from a consumer standpoint, I would prefer to buy a used car than a new car.
Yeah,
And nothing against new cars. New cars are great. But there's a big depreciation cost that you have to take into account. And, that translates into monthly payments.
yeah, yeah. Now, even though you are the credit guy and things like that, do you believe in monthly payments and just racking up all these monthly payments because credit leverage,
No,
or
no, no, no.
sometimes
It
do you
has to be managed. You remember, your number one job as a consumer is make the credit bureaus understand that whatever credit they extend you, you're able to pay regardless, even on a bad month. Even if something happened at work and you had a bad month or situation, you should be able to meet your minimum obligations. So getting more credit just for the sake of getting credit is not always good.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, there is like a credit wave going on right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sure you've heard of it too. And
Absolutely.
YouTube has opened the door to where, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, thank God I'm responsible, right? But there's people out
Hmm.
there that
Yeah.
that are not using it responsibly, and they're saying, "Oh, well,
Hmm.
I can just make a monthly payment. The phone costs $1,200, so I'm gonna put
Hmm.
it in $50 payments. Oh, the car costs 40,000. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pay $800 a
Yeah.
month." And
Yeah.
in my opinion, I feel
Yeah.
like it's just like,
And you know what, you can take that approach, but unfortunately, if there was a hiccup down the road, if you had a bad month or whatever situation happened, that's when you run into trouble. That's when you cannot meet your minimum obligations, and therefore you can see your credit score start dropping, deteriorating
yeah,
rather quickly in those situations. So be
that, that
careful.
yeah,
Use,
that was my next question. How fast could it drop once you're up there if you
oh,
mess
it
up?
could drop. It could drop in 30 days. You can go from an 800 to a 500 easily.
What? Oh my God.
Yes,
It's
yes,
just
yes.
like
If you get
breaking
hit, if
somebody's
you get hit,
trust.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You get somebody's trust, and if you get from different angles, really, really see it literally overnight.
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Just
so
imagine you stop paying mortgage, you stop paying your car. You know what? In 90 days, you'll be walking. you know, um, Same thing with
Oh
your
man.
credit cards. You know what? They'll cut them off. You know, have you seen those movies where the waiter comes and it cuts off the credit card? Nah, it's not too that bad. But seriously, you have to be responsible for your obligations, and you agreed to pay this amount of money, and that it has to be something that you're able to manage. Let's not go crazy. Let's not go to Punta Cana every other weekend, and just burn money.
Yeah. I'm
on,
a big
on
believer
credit,
that
on credit.
that credit, you should not be taking vacations on credit. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's meant for, I'm big on entrepreneurship. I'm big on starting your own business, and I know there's jobs that have to be, fulfilled, but I'm
Hmm.
big on starting your own business. And now that I've learned about credit, I mean, I'm just in love with the concept of, hey, let me use this credit to start my business, and the cash flow will pay my bills.
Exactly,
You
and
know
then
what
you
I
can
mean?
take the profits home and deal with taxes and everything else that comes as a result. But
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least that credit got you going. The credit
for
is that
sure.
big step. It's the key that opens that door.
For sure, for sure. Now, for somebody that may be listening and saying, "Hey, you know what? You know, I want to start this journey. I need to start this journey. Um, what's a good time? What's a good day they can contact you and things like that?"
I have flexible business hours Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and then I'll be happy to answer any calls, answer any questions that people may have. Without It's a free consultation. You don't need to send me a check for that.
That's funny. And what would you say is one of the most important personality traits somebody needs to have when dealing with credit?
Just that responsibility. Understand that whatever you borrow, you have to pay.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand that there's consequences. Understand that there is an accountability. You will be made held accountable by either a credit card company, a bank, a car company, a mortgage company, whoever you owe money to. You're gonna have to answer for it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And if you mess up, it's on there for 7 years.
It's on there for 7 years, unless you
Wow.
reach out to me, and we'll take care of that for you.
Now, what's one of the worst things you've seen on somebody's credit without saying any names?
Ah, Guys, there's always a story. We'll have a story, but I can't tell you. Oh, I have one person who unfortunately was going through a really really bad divorce situation, and then somebody, the party that left, decided not to pay for the car, and then three cars got
Oh,
repossessed within one day. So this family,
what?
yeah,
Walk
this
me
family
through
saw themselves without a car and without an ability or no credit to be able to buy a new car or go out and get a new car. So
it.
that
Wow.
was one of those most difficult, heartbreaking situations that I've seen in terms of credit.
Wow. Yeah, it can get bad. It can get bad. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of people that live on credit, like bad. And I sometimes, like Dave Ramsey said, I used to listen to him a lot. When everything crashes, you see who was skinny dipping in the water.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
and,
mean?
and, and then credit is the first thing to go.
So yeah, I mean, I highly encourage get yourself some credit, improve your credit, get this guy to help you out. But you have to be very responsible and not go buy the Gucci, the Louis V, things, on
Mhm.
credit. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
Now,
sense.
that's awesome. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about how you got into credit repair, right? Like what were you
Mhm.
doing before you even got into credit repair?
Well, like I said, I've been in the real estate business, so it was all related. I got tired of seeing people who wanted to buy a home, wanted to own a home, people paying thousands of dollars of rent and not owning anything. And I realized that the reason why they couldn't rent it was they couldn't buy because they had bad credit.
Credit.
They could save a little bit of money for down payment, but the biggest challenge, the biggest hiccup was credit. And in many, many, many cases, it wasn't, they didn't even know they had credit issues. So it was like an error, a mistake, somebody else's identity. It was affecting them and they were not even aware. They just knew that they could not afford a house. And, That's the American dream. We all want to own a house, and that's how it all started. We started trying to help people who just needed help to get into that first home.
For sure. What kind of jobs have you had in the past?
God, I've done a little bit of everything, but I truly enjoy credit, and credit relates to real estate, so they go hand in hand.
Nice, nice. Now tell us a little bit about your childhood, how you grew up.
Oh man, I'm the oldest of three kids, just like anybody
Nice.
else. High school, college, and did a little bit of corporate America. And then about 20 years ago, I said, enough of this, enough of punching the clock. I want to go out there and start my own business, and started doing real estate, I do mortgages also, and but
Nice.
credit is the base, is the foundation of that pyramid. Everything hinges on the credit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm a big believer in that. And what would you say some skills that you've acquired over the years, or what would be some skills that you've acquired over the years before you got, into the credit, into the real estate and things like that?
Just trying to understand people, trying to understand what is it that people are trying to achieve, and helping them get what they want. Because if they get what they want, I get what I want.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
helping people,
for sure, for sure. And
helping people get what they want.
what would be some things that maybe just people don't understand sometimes when it comes to, you know, just life in general and credit and things like that, in your opinion?
In my opinion, is that they think that because they bought it on credit, they don't have to pay it.
You see that
And
a lot?
yeah, I see that a lot. I see that a lot.
A
And
lot of
like you said
things that
earlier,
just aren't paid.
we go credit happy. We go through that credit mode, and then we realize that we overextended ourselves, and now we need to pull back and pull the reins back and understand our financial situation. I often see people who are living off of the credit cards, and it's heartbreaking because that can only go for so long.
Yeah. Now,
That
what would be some tips to kind of avoid, using more than 30%, getting into those high numbers of utilization?
Yeah, just understanding what your balances are and how much you're carrying, understanding what you limit your balances, and don't go over that 30%. Just keep an eye
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. And is it 30% per card, or is it 30%
That's
per
of the
everything?
whole. It's a 30% of the whole.
30% of everything?
Yes.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Now, what what has been your least favorite job to date?
God, I can't remember that, man. I've been doing everything I've done. Um, pretty much I've enjoyed everything I've done in life. Everything
Nice.
is a learning experience. Everything that we do in this world is a learning experience.
Nice. And how would your are you married?
I have
Okay. How would your partner describe what you do now?
the way she says it is that I help people get out of trouble. Get
For
out of
sure.
trouble.
For
Help
sure.
people get out of trouble. Oftentimes when people come to me, it's because they have a goal in line. They're looking to fix something or to buy something. And oftentimes they got denied and they go, oh gosh, I got to get that fixed. They kind of knew it was in the back of their minds, but they were not, they were kind of ignoring it. But then at some point, something else, there's a trigger and they come running to me.
For sure. For sure. And what would be a funny story in your family that your family tells about you that you'd like to share?
I'm not saying that in public.
Ah!
I'm not going there.
And what's your favorite childhood memory?
When I was very young, I really enjoyed spending time with my grandparents, especially my grandfather. And he loved to read. He got home every day in the afternoon and he read the paper, and I would sit on his lap and just watch him read the paper. I guess that's spending time with that special person. As we grow older, that's just one of those memories as a child that I'll never forget. And just
Nice.
just being there quiet while he read the paper.
Nice. Now, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Hey, helping others. I want to help everyone.
Nice. And what's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Oh my God, no.
Let's keep it PG. Let's keep it PG.
Gosh, just someone said that I went above and beyond, and that to me is the biggest compliment as an individual.
Nice. And if you can go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't do it. No, just kidding. Learn how to use credit while you're still young. Learn how to use
Yeah,
credit when you're
I
still
know.
young.
You are so right about that. Now, I do want to ask you about something.
Oh,
What?
no.
No, no, no.
I know where
How,
you're going with this, Jordy.
no, no. How do you feel about authorized users? I meant to ask you that earlier.
uh, they're a good thing if you have a solid personal relationship with a person. It could really help you build credit better, faster. But if you're on the other end, it could really hurt you if somebody is continuously late and they continue that pattern that we're doing somewhere else. So
Now,
just be careful with that.
I want to put my kids as authorized users. They're obviously 1 and 3. They're not going anywhere.
Mhm.
But my thing is, like, when I automatically put them on, does a credit card get sent out
You
or not
can
always?
No, not always. It doesn't have to be. You can call the credit card company and says, "I just want this person in name in the account."
Okay.
But recommendation is don't start until they're 6 years old. That's when you start
6.
seeing, yeah, 6 is when you start. Even though in the past we have all heard stories about, credit cards being sent to newborns,
Yeah.
but at 6 years of age is when the credit bureaus start creating an identity for a person.
Gotcha.
They
Now
shouldn't take newborns, credit cards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now I've heard of people starting a business with their credit cards and basically charging somebody, I don't know exactly the numbers, but they're basically charging people and putting random people as authorized users on their credit cards. Like, do you know anything about this?
I know what you're talking about. It's not a good strategy.
It's not, right?
It's not. It catches up, and then sooner rather than later, you're defrauding the credit card companies.
That is fraud, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
That's
is.
not even legal.
Yeah, it's not, and there's some people out there doing some crazy stuff.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
And they're talking about it publicly like it's just whatever.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow.
it's not because you're affecting somebody else's score. Think of it that
Yeah.
way, and you're committing fraud. You're misrepresenting.
And what are these trade lines then that I see? Like, there's actually websites where I can buy trade lines. That must be legal though, right? Or no?
Some of it is, some of it is, some of it isn't, and but that's for another conversation because trade lines can really affect credit in a negative way if you understand what you're doing. So
Okay.
that's
So people should not like get into it immediately without knowing.
not if you don't know what you're doing. Not if you don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Okay. Now, are you able to guide somebody in that direction
Yep,
or no?
absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, we definitely need to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in that. Getting somebody's 100,000, 500,000, whatever. What's the highest you've seen credit go on credit cards?
What do you mean, as in total amount of
Limits.
credit
Limits.
available? Limit? Well, there is the everyone knows the Black American Express that has no limit.
Wow.
But there is other credit cards that can go up to 10, 20, 30, $50,000. Yes, there are some.
Nice. Nice. And if you could live anywhere in the world, Alvaro, where would it be?
Oh God, Northern Italy.
Italy. Why?
Yes, I love that. I love that part of the country. It's just beautiful.
Is it the bread and wine?
Got to, got to.
Or is it the pasta?
Well, it's the pasta that goes with the bread and the wine.
All right. And if you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would you choose?
Gandhi,
Gandhi? Why Gandhi?
peace, man.
Peace.
Peaceful resistance, being able to achieve everything through peace.
Nice. Now, what do you do with those clients that don't believe in peace?
Which I still love them.
You still love them.
I still love them.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes you just got to let certain customers go. All right. And if you had to write a book tomorrow, what would you write about? I think you have a book, right?
I do. I do. I do
What?
have a book. Yeah,
How are
I
we
do.
not going to talk about that?
I do have a book in real estate and how to sell homes that are very difficult, incredibly difficult to sell.
Wow. That's very nice. When did you
Yeah.
publish it?
About a year and a half ago. Yeah, a couple
Nice.
years ago. It's been a couple years.
Very nice. And
Mhm.
if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pasta.
Pasta? This
Pasta
guy.
with the wine. With the wine.
Awesome, awesome. Now I know I've seen you with pictures like with 10x in the back and things like that. Are you like
Hmm.
big on like personal development?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely. I
What
think everyone should continue to read, at least one book every couple of weeks at the very least.
nice. And what are
I
three
must say.
books you'd recommend and why?
10X is one of them.
For sure.
Um, Goals. I think I have it back there somewhere. Goals, how to achieve goals, how to create goals that are effective, and how to influence friends and influence people and make friends. That's another book that everyone should read.
I like that. I like that. And what are three movies you'd recommend? Are you a movie guy?
I'm not really a movie guy,
Me
man.
either, man. Me either. Me either.
I mean, yeah, Godfather is a good movie, Rambo, Terminator, but I'm
The
not
old
really
movies. The old movies.
yeah, the old movies.
I'm not a movie guy either. That's so funny. I usually don't ask that because it's like I don't watch movies. I mean, lately I've been watching all these kid movies. I know all the freaking like all the kid
Yeah.
songs right now. I wake up like do 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 do. It's horrible. And who has been your most important professional mentor in your life?
God, I've had so many people to thank, man. I got so many people. Gosh, where do I start? I don't know where to start.
Just
Um,
your just one that you feel like you've connected to the most. Or two or three if you don't
yeah.
want to single one out. You don't want to make
No.
anybody feel bad.
That one for later. We're gonna do that for later.
And what would be one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting out in your career?
um, just be patient. It takes time. It takes time.
For sure. And
Be
did you
patient.
always want to fix credit?
No, no. Like I said, I landed on this as a result of other stuff that I felt like people really, really needed help.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And one last question. Well, let's do two more questions. What's your morning routine look like?
Wake up early, read, do a little meditation, and don't talk on the phone until I've worked for at least 30 minutes. Don't look
Nice.
at what I mean by that is don't look at social media. Don't look at anything that has to do with social media
That's hard.
until after I've gotten some work done, some productivity early in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's hard.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah,
tried it. Every day I tell myself I'm gonna do that and
yeah.
I,
I
I
jump into
fail.
something. I jump into something, but I tried really, really hard, and
And
I'm getting
what's
better. Mm.
for sure? What's one question you wish I'd ask you and how would you have answered?
Oh gosh.
in regards to credit, or maybe something I missed that would give somebody, some
Nah,
help?
I can't. We'll leave that one for the next. We'll leave that one for the next time.
All right. So you owe me one then. You owe me one.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I owe you one. We'll leave it
What
at
do
that.
What do you think the world will look like in 5 years?
I don't know, my friend. I don't know. I don't
No
know.
idea.
I think I think we Americans need to start listening to each other.
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
That's important.
for sure. Well, that was awesome, Alvaro. Thank you so much. You definitely know what you're talking about when it comes to credit. So guys, if anybody needs this guy, please don't hesitate. It's a lot more complicated sometimes with every specific situation when it comes to credit. Um, so just give him a call. Everything's down below, all his information. But thank you so much for coming on here, Alvaro. It was definitely a pleasure to have you on here. And
Thank you,
until next
Jordan.
time, buddy.
Appreciate your time. Thanks.
No worries. Take care. All right, guys. So there you have it. Credit repair specialist. Um, you know, Guys, credit is important. Credit is important. As you guys heard, I pretty much learned everything I had to learn about. Well, not everything. I don't want to say that, but I pretty much got started when my kid's mom died and passed away, and it has changed my life. Right here, I was no money, but I had $20,000 in credit cards sitting in my drawer, right? And that right there helped me to take my business to the next level. And I'll be honest with you, in 9 months that I've been, using the credit cards, I have not paid a single percentage of interest, because it's allowed me to have the cash and invest it into things where obviously I'm being smart. And my number one thing that I do want to say is that don't ever experiment with credit. Don't ever experiment with other people's money, right? You have to only use credit, in my opinion, once you got a strategy that you know is going to work and you've tried with your own money. So, guys, that's pretty much it. You already know the drill. If you hate your insurance plan, give me a call. If you don't have insurance because you think it's too expensive, give me a call, and I'll definitely be able to help you guys out.